Joe Biden is the new president of the United States, even though half of the country's Republicans believe he stole the election. But conspiracy theories are not exclusive to people who stormed the US Capitol. Asbjørn Dyrendal, a professor at NTNU's Department of Philosophy and Religious Studies, who specializes in conspiracy theories, says that everyone believes in a conspiracy theory, at least a little bit. The more conspiracy theories you bring up, the more people will answer yes to one of them. Why is this? It can be a bit like the emotions associated with football. We are all more vulnerable to believing what we think is right, especially when our identity is at stake and emotions are strong.
You might think the referee is out to get your team specifically, especially when a player on your team goes down inside the 16-meter line without getting a penalty. And you might even see many referees go after your team, or you may see a pattern at least in your team almost never getting a penalty. These same mechanisms, like partisanship and motivated reasoning and overactive pattern perception, are involved when we develop conspiracy beliefs.
Maybe you don't think that the Earth is flat or that 5G is messing up your head. People can have degrees of conspiracy thinking as well. There is a big difference between yelling at the ref in a heated moment and believing that the Earth is flat. But there are some characteristics we see reoccur often. Conspiracy theorists typically tend to have a little less education, often live in societies that have less successful democracies, which influences trust in others and in the authorities, belong to social groups who believe they should have a higher standing in society, belong to special political organizations or religious groups. They more often use intuition or their gut feeling when making decisions, and also see connections more often than most people, even if those connections don't exist. And they are a little more narcissistic and paranoid than others, and more often obtain their information from social media.
We can see that those who believe in conspiracy theories are more prone to get more of their news from social media than from more established sources. The difference isn't all that big.
Social media can create echo chambers. The media is structured in such a way that you mostly hear from friends and other sources that you already agree with. Also, likes and posts that you click on influence what you see later. This makes it easy to confirm suspicions and perceptions that you already have. And you'll always find a community of other individuals who feel and think a little like you do. However, who believes in which theories is a different story. Sometimes it has more to do with dominance.
People who score high in social dominance orientation, that is, people who dislike equality and prefer hierarchies, see themselves and their groups as superior to others and believe more in conspiracy theories specifically about different other social groups, like interethnic relations.
This kind of preference for clear social ranking expresses itself in general prejudices against groups that are seen as lower or a threat to the social hierarchy. The most prominent characteristic of conspiracy theorists is that they are often part of various groups that distrust the government and the way most of us live today. Evangelical Christians in the United States, for example, will find it much easier to adopt conspiracy theories that fit with their other belief. If you are convinced that the world as we know it will soon end with a battle between good and evil at Armageddon, it's not that big of a leap to believe that politicians in recent decades are actually emissaries of Satan himself. Among the people who stormed the US Capitol were several members of QAnon. This is a group that believes Donald Trump has been fighting a secret war against a powerful group of Satan-worshipping pedophiles. But the followers of QAnon don't number as many as some media outlets might suggest, at least in proportion to the population of the United States. They might seem widespread because many of the conspiracy theories adopted by QAnon were already well established and far more popular than before. But in a country with 330 million inhabitants, numbers grow quickly. So most of the people who stormed the Capitol actually came from very different backgrounds. And not just poor or uneducated people like the media sometimes like to imply.
Media likes to portray them as left behind, working class and hicks from the sticks and disadvantaged people. Neither helps our understanding very much. Trump supporters might on average have lower education than the other Americans, but they're not really left behind. They have higher wages than people who support the Democrats.